Welcome to Community with Closers. I'm your host, Pat Clark, and this is where closers are born. Get ready for high-energy stories, game-changing strategies, and the relentless pursuit of success. In each episode, we dissect the art of sealing the deal, celebrate triumphs, and explore the grit that defines salesmanship. This is the ultimate podcast for sales warriors ready to conquer the business battlefield. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode right here, Community with Closers. I'm actually in Nashville, Tennessee. We got the huge convention coming up Friday and Saturday. So if you guys, you're listening, you're on YouTube, if you guys haven't purchased your ticket, hit me up. I still got a couple tickets available for you to make it out. If you're in the Nashville area, you want to swing over and check out thehugeconvention.com. We'd love to see you. We are booth 710. And if you just following me, you want to introduce yourself, come by the booth. Love to meet you. But guys, we have an amazing guest tonight on here. I'm super excited. He is doing so much in the solar industry, media, you name it. He's got some pretty cool stuff going on. But the funny thing is, we met, man. I was getting my hair cut, and his partner, Tony, was getting his haircut same time. And I was telling the barber about my story, and he was talking about, growing the barber shop, getting on YouTube. We were talking about media, and Tony left. And then when I was done, he pulled in the parking lot, rolled down his window. I'm like, what is going on? And he's like, dude, you need to come. We got a studio right down the road. You got to check this out. And sure enough, dude, I drove down there. I met Zach. I met their team. And they were like, dude, let's shoot a podcast. So guys, I want to introduce you to Zach Dingy, doing amazing things. Zach, what is up, brother?
What's up, Pat? It's crazy.
Dude.
Stories are crazy, man. We meet in a barbershop, or my partner meets you in a barbershop. You come on our podcast. Now I'm on your podcast. It's crazy what happens.
It really is. Life's a journey, dude. And you meet these things, you meet people, you build relationships, and who knows where it's going to go, right? Who knew?
It's wild. It's wild. When you put yourself in front of certain places, certain things, they tend to just happen for you. They call that luck.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
But no, that's the thing, man. You got to put yourself out here. And I think we're going to dive into that in what you got going on, because that's the name of the game, is putting yourself out there, getting uncomfortable, right? Building relationships. So, with that being said, let's dive into your story a little bit. I don't even think I know the beginning parts of it. So if you want to kick it off, man, where did it all start? And yeah.
Yeah. So number one, thanks for having me on the podcast. It's good to be here. Glad to be here with everyone on here. And I think I've done a lot of podcasts. I have my own podcast, but I don't think I've ever done it live. So it's exciting.
Yes.
All right. My story. So I got into solar when I was 19 years old. And the way I came on is always a pretty funny story. People tend to like this one. So when I came on to Plug PV, we were maybe about 8 total employees and about 3 total sales reps. And they were about 6 months old. I won't get into the details of what happened before that. But when I came on, the president of sales at the time, his name is Gio. He's a 57-year-old guy who's been knocking on doors since he was 18 years old. Been knocking on doors for 40-something years. That was his only profession he did, selling frozen meat out the back of a meat truck.
Yes.
So a little bit of a special character. And when I came in for the interview, he said, "How old are you, kid?" I said, "I'm 19 years old, sir." He said, "Got it." He said, "You're a waste of my time. You live in your father's basement. I don't even know why Ryan was the guy who brought me in. I don't even know why Ryan brought you into this interview. You're going to make your first $1,000 and I'll never see you again. So let's just cut the BS here and you could just go home because this is a waste of my time."
Wow.
So I turned to the guy when we left. I'm like, "Can I work for you for now? Can I knock on doors? I want to do this." He's like, "Sure." So I started working with him for a couple weeks. A few weeks later, the guy got a DWI, ended up getting fired, went away, stopped working. I came back to the original guy who did the interview with me. And I'm like, "Hey, I got 7 appointments. I don't know what I'm doing. I need help running and closing these deals." He's like, "All right, I'll help you for now. But this is it." sure as hell, he helped me out. We closed a few of them. He said, I'm not helping you, so figure it out on your own. I ended up closing 10 deals in my first 3 months and broke the company record. And then the rest was history. Then it took off from there. But yeah, it's funny. The guy told me basically to kick rocks, and I wouldn't leave him alone. It's like a pebble in his shoe. So,
dude, that's like fire. Like you're like, heck no, it's on now, right?
Yeah, I saw the guy who brought me on. I saw his commission checks. Like he was doing a spreadsheet, and I saw how much money he was making. I'm 19 years old at the time, trying to make it. I had my own businesses. I'm doing everything. And I saw him. I saw the money he was making. So I'm like, I'm doing this. Whether he wants me to or not, I'm going to figure this out. And 6 years later, we got over 80 sales reps and did over 9 figures last year in sales. So, yeah.
Dude, freaking crushing it. Love that, man. So that leads me into my next thing, right? Is sales leadership. And I think, from the videos you're doing, I mean, I got to see your location, how you're doing it. Let's dive into that a little bit, because I think, for people that are watching this, right, we talk about community with closers, right? These are guys that want to build that team. They might be, 1, 2 guys right now selling. They got, 4 or 5 trucks on the road. They want to scale, right? So let's dive into that a little bit of, what were the steps you took to, go from those 3 reps? You said you got 80 now?
Yeah, we have about 80 reps.
Heck yeah.
3 or 4 different states. Yeah. So, there's a few different things. I think we have never used Indeed ads. Out of 80 something reps we have, I think maybe 3 of them have come from online Indeed ads or ZipRecruiter or something else.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them has been organic recruiting and people bringing in their friends or bringing in people they know. We've even had people, we sell them solar, and then 6 weeks later, they're like, hey, are you guys hiring? I want to sell. We've had our own customers come in. A lot of it is very organic. And I think the big thing is, like, number one, you got to have a mission and a vision. Since day one, I've always been saying, we're going to be this kind of a company. We're going to go here. This is what we're going to have. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to be number 1 in New York State. We're trying to grow in Massachusetts. We're trying to grow here. I was always casting this vision of like, here's what we're going to do, and here's what we're going to be, and here's what we stand for too. Like I always say, we're a personal development company with a compensation plan attached. I'm looking for people that want to better themselves. So the point of what I'm getting at here is that I went and found my mission, my vision. I curated this image of what I wanted this to look like, and I started telling people, and it happened to attract the right people that we wanted. And this goes for any kind of business, sales, marketing, whatever it is. If you can get people to come to you compared to you have to go get those people, it makes a big, big, big difference. So having the right vision and mission and knowing where you're going, people love that and they're attracted to that. And then you find the right people, and the ones who don't fit inside that mission or vision, they tend to just work themselves out, and you're left with the people you want in your business. So that's one thing I could tell everyone is get clear, know where you're going, and then go tell everyone where you're going. Tell everyone the mission, the vision, and make sure everyone really believes it, and make it big enough that everyone else's mission can fit inside your company's mission.
So good, dude. I remember looking back, man, because as I grew my company, we went to 18 folks in our company, and they were like, this is Pat's dad's company. I'm like, where are these people thinking of these things, right? And like you said, I didn't have a clear mission. I didn't have a clear vision for the company, and they were making things up. And I'm like, dude, my dad was never in the picture. You know what I mean? It was like me and my mom. So I had to literally go and put up a board and get pictures of my first trailer, right? Like how I did my first sale and like how I grew the company. And I really had to get clear on my mission, my vision, and you have to paint the picture for your team. And like you said, they gotta fit into that with pay, with benefit, with all the things that they can serve in the community, because then they're bought in. Yep. So holy cow, that's huge. Yeah.
And there has to be the commission is one thing, right? We pay our guys very well. We're the highest paying solar company in the Northeast by a landslide. We pay people very well. but so much more. It is 2024. People want to be a part of something bigger. They want some kind of cause for the world. There's a crusade that they want to go be a part of. And in New York State, the utility companies here are very, very bad. They charge crazy rates. They suck at the billing cycle. People hate them. And we drive this mission of like, we're really going to help people. People are in bad situations with their utility bills, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, and we're going to help them. And we make it this team of winners and success. And then also part to that is, again, something bigger. They really feel like they're going out and helping people, which they are. And that makes a big difference, man. People will go to war for you if there's something bigger that is beyond money that they feel like they're accomplishing.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head, because since COVID, right, people that were traveling, I was just talking about tonight, we had a mastermind, and we were talking about it, how people changed. They got back, they were at home, and they're like, actually, this is what I want. Like, you know what I mean? They want to be a part of something, but at a local level where the mom and pops or the smaller companies where there's camaraderie and like where they can shine, if you will, right? So that's so true. And I know people too are wondering, they're like, when you get salespeople, and you can probably talk to this, it's like, what are the marketing strategy? What are the Google? What's their secret pill, right? But there isn't one.
Yeah.
And it's like when I hired, like you said, birds of a feather flock together, my sales team would bring people in and you become the best, the freaking best. You market the best, your values, you serve clients at a high level, and people start to come to you and they're like, I want to be a part of what Zach's going on. I see, the movement. I see what's going on. People are excited. They're happy.
Yeah.
But it's like when you talk about marketing and you talk about sales strategies, it's the people. Would you agree?
100%. 100%. I was just talking to my team of managers. We had a meeting. This was last Monday, maybe, or the Monday before, but within the last 2 weeks. It's funny you're saying this, because I'm like, what business are we really in as managers? Like really, 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 really narrow it down, because our team is all our guys are door knockers. So everyone is that's how they get their leads, which is not which is not an easy thing to do. It's a very specific type of person. And so I'm like, what do we really do? Like, what is our job? What industry are we in? And then like the people industry. I'm like, yeah, but we're not just in the people industry. Like what's deeper than that? And we're sitting there, we're talking. And I'm like, we are in this industry where we're trying to find the top 1% of human beings, top 5% of human beings that are willing to go out and want to knock on doors and are really hungry to do it and have the right values and principles. So that we narrow it down to that. And then specifically what you're looking for, number one, but also like we're looking for such a specific type of person. And it's not easy to find because there isn't a lot of people that want to knock on doors, number one. A lot of people that will do that job, they don't have high morals and principles. And if anyone watching on here knows about the solar industry is still the wild, wild west. There's not a lot of regulations and laws. And so people can really put homeowners in bad scenarios. And it's very, 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 very hard to find the people that have those skill sets and have the right moral compass to not screw people over. So anyway, it's kind of on the same type of what you're saying, but I'm just like, we're in the people business, but you got to really narrow it down. Is like, are you just looking for volume of people and you're trying to hire a massive W-2 sales force of people that, they don't have to be the best in the world. You just want phone closers and people in the office and you want to have a team like that? Or do you want a team of absolute killers and the top 5% of human beings that are just studs, and you have to reverse psychology, what your culture and what your mission and vision, all those things are based off of what kind of person you're trying to attract.
Yeah. And I think it comes a lot too, like you breed that, right? Like they start in a fundamental way of like, okay, I can do this. But the reality is like you're slaying dragons every freaking day. Yeah. And you got to have the leadership and the focus, right, to lead these guys to war, basically, is like, because I know for me, it's like, yeah, we got to go knock on doors. They're like, I'd rather be a lead runner, right? And this day and age, there's not a lot of people that will, do that. I feel like, I mean, I've hired a lot of people, and
No.
most of the people that come through, like you're saying, you got to weed through a lot of it. They just want to run leads, you know what I mean, for a roofing company or whatever it may be, right? They just, I want to be a lead runner. I'm like, yeah, that's not what we do here.
No.
We're hunters. We got to go out. We got to replicate our efforts, because in a market like we are right now, you can't just be a lead runner. It's not going to work, right?
Yeah. Very
So,
true, man. There's so many solar companies right now that I know of many people, many other CEOs, leaders of solar, sales leaders, managers in the industry that are down 40, 50, 60, 70, 80% this year because interest rates are way higher. It's way harder to sell the product, and the market has gotten so competitive. And you don't have those people that are hungry that will go out there and really hunt for deals, and you're not getting the same deal flow buying leads as you used to. And it's a big, there's major players in the solar industry, for anyone who knows, that have gone down this year, either filed bankruptcy or closed down the residential division, like big players. So it's a little scary.
well, and I think it's a good point to look at trends, right? Look at those things and like, okay, they went down, but what didn't they have, right? You got to look internally. I always say with the heart of your company. So when you look internally, all you got to do is get better, right? What didn't they do? Let's do it better. And to be honest, it's having those hard conversations. I know for me anyway, is like we got to have those hard conversations. Like we got to get out there. We got to do the things that those people won't do, because like, if you're picking up trash, right? Those guys make good money, because they're doing things that nobody else are going to do. They get the huge tips during Christmas, whatever it is. So you use those analogies, and like, I think people got fat on the calf after COVID. Things were good again, right? People were spending money, COVID projects. They're like, yeah, I want to do solar. I want to do this, that. And people were getting fat and happy on the calf. But the reality is, that's only for a certain point, right? And then you go back to basics.
No.
And I always say you got to go back to basics, and that's the door knocking, that's the door hangers, whatever you can do, and then you still keep the Google SEO, the cold calling, buying the lists and stuff. But that stuff, it's all in one system. So what have you found? Like, I know you're doing obviously door knocking, but what have you found? And I'm not saying give away the secret sauce, but like, what are some things that you guys have found as far as like strategy, if you will, or like getting the team on board to really, crush it?
There's a few things that come to my mind when you say that, because I'm working on building a couple things right now with my media team, and it has a lot to do with this. And number one, I have 5 C's of how we built the team. So I'll actually give you all 5 C's right here, and this is on my course. It's going to be paid for. So number one is culture. By far, there's nothing more important on a sales team than the culture of the team. And culture is, everyone has a culture, whether they build it or not. You have a natural default of culture. And I can go for hours on how to build a culture, but you have to look at, like, what do you feel when you see your team? How does your team, what energy are they giving off? What kind of people are these people? And what kind of feeling do I get when I am in the room with them? Are you inspired? Do you feel powerful? Do you feel like this is a team of killers? Are a lot of people in shape? Like, that's the culture. That's the basic of it, is what is their standards, is another word for culture. Is like, if I got 80 people and their average is 2 sales a month, well, if I can get rid of the bottom 20% and only have 55 people, but the average is 5, I just raised the culture by 2.5 fold, and I have a totally different culture in my office, and that new culture is going to attract the right new people now. So I'm a believer in cutting the bottom 10%. But anyway, besides the point, culture is number one. Number 2 is criticism. Or sorry, let me actually give the other one first. Compliment. You always compliment your people. When somebody does something right, you got to tell them they're doing something right. So many sales leaders just criticize. They just tell their people when they're doing something wrong, and they never tell them when they did something good. So super basic. But there's a great book by 𝗭 𝗏 called Unreasonable Hospitality. He was the owner of the #1 restaurant in the world. and he talked about how every single night he would compliment or criticize every waiter over 150 times per night, per waiter. If they dropped the plate the right way, hey, that's a good plate drop. If they didn't, hey, that was a bad plate drop. But no matter what, he always gave them feedback. So as sales leaders, always compliment. Then when it comes time to criticize, which is the third C, it allows you to criticize. But if you're only doing one or the other, you're not getting the right results. Fourth is compensation. You got to pay people right. If you want to fix a lot of your problems, pay people more and you will get better people. So, me as a sales leader specifically, I could make a lot more money if I structured the business a different way, but I can't promise you that I would have 80 people that have stayed with me for 5 years and then have gone through the ups and downs of the industry because they get paid very well. So they want to stay, and then you attract the right people. So if you have a very high pay structure and a good product and you can pay people multiple six figures, they'll typically stick around. And then last thing, the fifth C is care. People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. It's been said many times over and over again. And you got to take people out to lunch. You got to take people out to dinner. You got to have eyes in the back of your head. When this guy's acting weird, you got to go walk up to him and talk to him and ask him what's going on. No. Tell me what's going on. You're weird. You've been weird all week. What's the problem? Yeah, Zach, I've been having problems at home, blah, blah, blah. And then you spend an hour with that person. You take that person out to lunch. You text them the next day. You make sure they're good. And you genuinely care about human beings. And that goes so much farther than people realize, because the big bad boss has this stereotype of he's just there for the paycheck or he doesn't really give a crap. And once you show somebody you care, they will run through mountains and over mountains for you. So those are my 5 C's that I talk about building a team.
Dude, that is gold. So if you guys are listening, you write that down, the 5 C's right there. Because dude, I literally just had a call from a guy that used to work for me that started his own business. So he called me. He's like, Pat, I was just thinking of you last week, man. He's like, I never had a boss like you. And it was like, what? Wait, okay. What do you mean? And he was like, he went into it. He's like, you told me, and we're in the exterior cleaning industry, so we clean roofs. We use bleach, and he was super like fragile. He was told all his life to never mess up. Don't mess up. He was in a communications field before he was in exterior cleaning, and you can only mess up twice, and then you're fired. So when he came to work for me, he's like, Pat, I'm slow. Jobs are taking longer. I'm not profitable. I'm like, come work for me and I'll teach you. And then you go do your own thing. And so he worked for me for, I think, 2 seasons, and he was driving an hour and a half. Dude, this guy had hustle and determination to, provide for his family. And he came and worked for me in Charlotte, North Carolina, our Charlotte branch. And I said, mess up. And I said, kill a plant. You know what I mean? Mess up. Because when you mess up and you fail quick, you learn, and you're going to learn faster than you ever have before. And he's like, nobody, no boss, no teacher, nobody. He's like, but Pat, you told me to fail. And that's like a lesson, that we got to do, because when you do fail, you learn, and it might hurt, right? Like it goes back when we were kids, don't touch the stove. But if you touch the stove, you're never going to do that junk again.
It's the best. Isn't that the best compliment in the world too? You're the best boss I ever worked for.
Yeah,
dude. Work for.
Yeah,
because it's people complicate it so much. Just be a good person. You just said it too, and I don't know if anyone caught it. Is like this guy wanted to go do his own thing, and he's eventually going to be some sort of a competitor, even if it's your market or not. But you're like, hey, come on, let me help you. And after that, whatever happens, happens. But you care. You're a good person, and so you take the guy on, you help him out. And so many people, man, just don't have the simple, basic common sense down. And it's super important. So
yes, no, I love it, man. So we got people on here. They're like, get the secret sauce. They're like, great content. They love it, man. So this brings me into it a little bit more, right? So you got the media company, and I believe from watching you and seeing you, dude, you are a closer. You're crushing it in life, right? You're in business. So when you start venturing out, you got the solar system going. So tell me a little bit more like about the media company, how that ties into solar. Like, are you guys doing videos? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so it's a good question. There's kind of two parts to it. You know, when I started doing well in solar, I've always wanted to do a podcast, and I happen, I felt like God had aligned this podcast to happen because my best friend was best friends with the videographer who was starting out, had a studio. He ended up having an office upstairs of his studio that was for rent, that was huge, and that I wanted. So I ended up moving into the office, and then he's like, "Hey, do you want to do a podcast?" So it all just worked out kind of. I felt a little bit divine, which started it all. So we got into the podcast space with me and my best friend, who has one leg. It's called Two Dudes, Three Legs Podcast. I handle a lot of the entrepreneur side of the world. He handles a lot of the survivor side because he lost a leg in a motorcycle accident. So we've interviewed a lot of people on that side. And that was kind of just like our fun way to give back and way to meet people and just do something that was pretty cool that we've always wanted to do. That's what started with the podcast.
Love it.
And then as we got a little deeper, we started shooting more and more and more and more content. And all of a sudden, my guy Bryce was shooting content every single day all over the place for us. We're going to Phoenix interviewing Andy Elliott. We got Damon John here in Poughkeepsie. We're interviewing these people, flying to different places, going on trips, and we're doing podcasts, but also we're doing a lot of stuff about recruiting. We have big conferences every quarter. He's coming to the conferences and he's videotaping the whole thing. And then so we start putting out content for solar and about recruiting people. And really, it was purely just, let's just show the story of what we have going on here and let people come to us. And I'm telling you right now, there's 40 out of the 80 people in this room that are here because of the content we've made, which is huge. So a lot of it just happened like, hey, let's try this. Oh, this is pretty cool. Let's actually continue to do this. Oh, wow, I can't believe we just got this guest on. Wow, this guy wants to come on. Let's go there. You get him on, and then it just like kind of snowballs once you get going. And content just piles on top of itself, and it just starts working, and you just start doing more and more and more of it. So the media thing is pretty cool, and I think right now, attention is the biggest currency in the world. If you can get eyeballs, you can pretty much be successful at anything. If you got a lot of attention on you, even the wrong attention, if you got the wrong attention, if you're selling out and people are paying attention to you, you can monetize it. So that's why I think creating content in today's world is pretty important. So
no, you hit it on the head, man, because if you go back, I talk about media and becoming the expert in your industry, right? No matter what you're doing, because you're going to have haters, right? You see people that love the haters because they get the comments and they get paid on YouTube. But the reality is, having eyes, right? When you're out, whatever you're doing, you need to become the expert in your industry. And when you teach, and I know you do a lot of teaching conferences, but when you teach, like you're doing the do, right? You're doing the thing, whatever it is, the landscaping, the solar, the roofing, whatever it is, you're doing that. But when you start teaching, there's a level of excellence that happens, and then you become master. And I call it mastery because I've been doing freaking washing for 18 years, but I've been selling, right? Like learning home services, selling in the home, techniques, all these things. And so that level of mastery comes is when you start teaching it, because not only are you teaching, you're learning from different people as well. And dude, there's magic that happens. Would you agree with that?
1,000%. 1,000%. I don't even need to add anything to it because you just hit the nail on the head. But when you start to have to teach. What is the saying? I'm trying to think of the saying actually. I'm not going to get it right, so I'm not going to.
I know what you're talking about.
Do you know it?
I don't. It's like on the tip of my tongue. Teach. You've said it before. I've heard you say it before. Something,
but then it is basically when you teach, you master. So once you teach something, you've essentially mastered it. And I think it's the best thing that you can focus on, right? When you get into an industry, There's one thing to say, hey, I want to sell the most deals. I want to make the most money. I want to be the best in the office. But you're always chasing something more. It never kind of ends. So I think something that you can really set your eyeballs on and set your target on that is always going to be in front of you, but is going to make you feel fulfilled. It's like, let me master this. Let me become the best and then go teach other people how they can also be the best. And there's so much fulfillment in it. I say this every single day to our team. We are in the business of changing people's lives. And once you've changed your own and you've made the money and you've done the things and then you go help somebody else, there's no feeling like it in the world. So master, when you get in the business, focus on, I want to become the best. I want to master this industry, master what it is. And so many people don't just focus on that one thing. You focus on that one thing, you master it, and you go and you help other people, you bring other people along for that journey. I mean, that might be the key to life right there. If you figure it out yourself and then you go help other people figure it out, you've made the money and you're fulfilled. And that's the name of the game, you know?
It is. Yeah, I talk about it all the time. You got to have purpose, right? And that purpose may be your business right now, and then your why will change as you excel.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, Zach, we have about 3 minutes left. I try to keep these short, sweet, right to the point. So, we're in, obviously we got an election year this year. Things are down a little bit. Election years, I've been through many election years. And so they usually are down, right? And you got to market 30 to 60 days before your slow times. This year's been a little bit different as far as timing and stuff. But what, leaving the folks tonight with the mindset. And I think you have a really cool mindset. And so what's something that you can leave us with as far as mindset going into this year? Things are happening. We got a lot of people in different industries. Home services where it's at. That. We got people like, what industry should I go into? I mean, we got people that are wanting to start businesses. What's that mindset look like from your perspective?
So the average solar company this year is down about 42% nationwide. Average solar company is down 42% for a multitude of reasons. We have grown by 30% every year, and not every year. We actually grew by 250% in 2022. We grew by 30% in 2023. In 2024, we've already grown by 26%. This month, we're currently at the most sales we've ever done in a month, and it's August 21st, and we have 10 days left in a month. So the mindset is just like, you're always trying to, there's so many things that come to my mind when you say, what's your mindset coming into it? But I'm always trying to chase the best version of everything. I'm someone I'm very hard to, I'm not a happy person all the time. I'm always pushing people. I'm always on top of everyone. I get frustrated very often because I always want the best and I'm always comparing myself, and it's definitely a flaw. But at the same time, you kind of need that in your business. Somebody in your business, whether it's your sales team or your company, whatever it is, you need that guy that's kind of like, he's just abrasive. He doesn't get along. He just wants to be the best. He's always trying to take everyone to the next level. And I'll give you an example. Maybe it's not a mindset, but if you've ever seen The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, people talk about how when they were playing with him, they couldn't stand him because he was such a pain in the neck all the time. But after, Michael Jordan said, listen, man, you guys got 6 championships. So whether you love me or hate me while we played together, you have 6 championships, and we were the best team to ever walk the face of the earth. And that's kind of what it has to be. So always push to be the best. Always your tooth, nail. You're always pushing people. You're staying on top of everyone. And the mindset is it's just to win. You got to try to always win and push to the next level, beat your prior best. And that's all I got for you.
Dude, love it, man. Well, that's it right there. I mean, this is an excellent episode. Dude, I can't thank you enough for being on. We definitely got to have some follow-ups later on for sure. See how everything's going. But, dude, I wish you so much success. Your team is just phenomenal, man. You're crushing it for sure.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate you having me on. And if anyone wants to find my stuff, you can go right to zachdingy.com. Is my website, and I got a whole bunch of stuff on there. So Thank you, Pat, for having me on. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we had a couple people actually asking if you mentor. I don't know if you do that, but reach you right there.
Perfect. Yeah, our site is actually officially going to be live next week. If you go right now, it might say site unreached or it's not fully finished yet, but we've been working on it for a while now. It's for anyone who's built the website. I thought it was easier said than done. It's pain in the neck. So we had some other platforms, but now we're building an official website. So anyway, it'll be live next week. And yes, I do mentoring on my website. You'll be able to find that. So
love it, man. Cool. Well, there you go, guys. Appreciate you tuning in this evening right here at Community with Closers. We appreciate you. Thank you for all the support. We'll see you next week, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here, Community with Closers. And guys, hit my guy up. Zach is a #1. He's going to help you out.
Thank you.
Later.